through and doing that. So today, babe, we're going to talk about a subject matter that's very close to our heart. We have had our share of experiences with this personally as individuals, not together, thank God, but we've gone through this, and it's a serious subject, and we want to talk about it a little bit because we coach people on a regular basis that go through these challenges. And so the question is lies, betrayal, and infidelity. When all of that stuff is prevalent, or when it's in the relationship, can you make the marriage work? And it's funny because as soon as I posted this yesterday, Tabitha chimed in and she said, nope, not when only one person wants to fight for it. And I can say that not a truer statement has been said. The answer is no, it can't work if you both are not willing to fight for it. Right. But what we want to major on today is, what does it look like for both of you to fight for that? And I think that unfortunately, many people, good to see you, Nikki. Thanks for jumping in the room. Babe, unfortunately, what happens is that most people, when these things happen in their relationships, they go about repairing the relationships incorrectly. Right. And so in essence, at the end of the day, it's not the lies, it's not the betrayal, it's not necessarily infidelity that broke the back of your relationship. It's how you handled it post the issue.
Right. And I think that one of the key things to being able to work through lies, betrayal, and infidelity, number one, is you have to have a level of maturity.
Yeah.
Number one, and a level of selflessness.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is that you are willing to put your feelings, because you're hurt. If you're the victim,
yep,
you're hurt, you feel betrayed, you know, you've lost your trust. But if you want to fight for the relationship, you're gonna have to put your emotions on the side for a minute.
Yep.
To be able to put in the work for you guys to be able to get through that. It is possible. We've seen couples do it. And then we've seen couples that haven't been able to do it because either one wasn't willing to fight, or there just was in a lot of cases, there's a lack of maturity.
It is.
It comes with that because it takes a very mature person to be able to put their emotions aside, step aside from a situation, see it as an isolated event, and not now label that person as this is who this person is. They made a mistake. They did something wrong. But to be able to say, okay, this is what you did, but that's not who you are.
Right. And again, go ahead.
To be able to move past that.
Absolutely, babe. When you say that, one of the things, good to see you, Donetta. Thanks for jumping in the room. Guys, listen to me very carefully. Share this out. Share this out right now. Let's stop for a quick second and let's tag somebody. You know somebody who's going through. They are trying to work through the infidelity. They're trying to work through the betrayal. They're trying to work through the lies that's happening in their relationships. Tag them right now. Share this message with them, because I'd like to be able to get their feedback, because we're going to open this up at the end and kind of try and deal with, if we can, take a few questions and your specific, if you're willing to be transparent. And I want you to share. But babe, one of the things that I think that a lot of people really go through when you talk about two people needing to be mature, I think that oftentimes the act itself is an act of selfishness and immaturity in of itself. It's an act of selfishness. When you lie, when you betray someone, when you step out of the relationship on someone. Good morning, Karen.
Good morning.
It is an act of selfishness. Right. And so in that selfishness, the question becomes, well, if they were so selfish that they weren't thinking of themselves when they did the act, how can they now become selfless and be able to put my needs ahead of their own to work this out? And that's possible because of the issue, because of the incident. In other words, the incident woke them up.
Right.
The incident,
that was a wake up call.
It was like, oh my God, what have I done?
Right. It's like, so, you know, a lot of times, you know, you'll have these young mothers that have children, and it's like they may be immature. When you have a child, typically what happens is that when you have that child, it's like a switch goes off and you're like, okay, you change.
Yeah.
You become this. I'm a mother now.
So you're 21 years old. You just, you celebrate your 21st birthday. You're just getting ready to graduate college, whatever your state of life is. And then boom, you're pregnant.
Right. And so then you have the child.
You're saying that there's a switch.
Right. There's a switch that typically happens.
You said
typically happens where you make this switch, and and so the same thing happens in crisis,
right?
And that's when there are incidents of lying, infidelity, and lack of trust. These things happen in relationship. That's a crisis moment, and what should happen is that crisis. Now, whether you get caught or whether you confess, or we're not dealing
with that particular part of it right now.
At that crisis moment, there should be a switch. There should be something that goes off where basically you're like, oh snap,
I messed up.
I need to get myself
together. I need to figure this out.
And that's where at that point, making that realization, and it first comes with being self-aware and being willing to admit that you're wrong.
Right.
And so if you're able to admit that you're wrong, that you made a mistake, that's that point where now you get to choose, am I going to be mature about this or am I going to be immature? Am I going to just be like, hey, that's just me.
Yeah.
It's just,
that was you. That was me when you met me.
I'm just doing me.
Right.
Or are you going to be like, okay, I made a mistake.
Yep.
It was wrong.
Yep.
I want this relationship.
Yep.
So let me do what I need to do. And that's what when I say maturity, that being mature enough to make that, to be self-aware, to make that decision, that should happen. Unfortunately, for some people, that doesn't happen until crisis.
Right.
But that definitely should be the point when that happens.
Absolutely. Beth, thank you for jumping on. Do me a favor, guys, share this out, tag a friend. If you want to, we're getting ready to go ahead and give you guys 3 things that I want you guys to understand, but we're talking about lies, betrayal, and infidelity. And inside the confines of marriage, can it still work? Can it still work when these things have happened? If they are happening, how do you navigate through that?
Right. And one thing, and I'll talk about me. In my first marriage, I got married when I was 19, extremely immature. And there were instances of infidelity, there were lies, there was betrayal, that we had the gamut going on. But both of us, neither one of us were mature enough to be able to be self-aware, to acknowledge that we were doing something wrong.
Right.
We pointed fingers at the other person and we're blaming the other person. And that led to the demise of our relationship because, and I'll speak for me, because I wasn't willing to admit that I was wrong, that I had lied, that, there had been deception on my part. I wasn't willing to admit that because I'm looking at the other person and seeing everything they're doing wrong. So I'm justifying what I'm doing.
Sure.
And so that led to the end of the relationship. Because after a while, you can't keep walking in a lie.
Right.
And expect something to grow from that.
Right. And then, and real quick, and again, we both have been through this. When I was married 12 years prior to Sheri. And let's just characterize that I committed adultery. I stepped out on our relationship several times. And I'm not even going to glorify that by how many and all the details, because it was terrible. And I think that one of the biggest things that I realized looking back is that I often felt like, you know what, this is wrong. I know it's wrong, but there was something in me that desired everything else but my wife, everything else but wanting to be home. My eyes were just wandering. I just could not get focused. And what I later learned is that I had a problem. I had a problem with being content. I had a problem with selfish pride. I had a problem with, telling with the negative self-talk, what I would tell myself that would get me going. So, if she wasn't, quote, acting right, then it justified me for wandering. And that's just wrong. And so today I want to talk to you, and we're telling you just a little bit about us, just to set this whole thing up so that you guys understand you're not by yourself. You're not the only one. You guys, if you don't know us well enough to know, we tend to err on the side of too much information because we believe that being transparent is critical to change. And if you're going to change, if you're going to figure out, it really, really starts there. So we're going to talk about lies, betrayal, and infidelity. Can it still work? And here's what I want to do. I want to let you know, in order to make it work, you will need three things. There are three specific things that you're going to absolutely need in the relationship, and it's going to have to work through in order for you to be able to make it work. If you're ready for us to give you number one, I want to make sure y'all are participating and y'all not just sitting back idly and listening. Give me a 1 in the chat, or just say, I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm ready. Put I'm ready in the chat. If you're ready for us to give you the first of these three things that you need to do in order to make it work, then put I'm ready in the chat. Sheri, I think that most people don't recognize that there are rules to this.
Right.
They don't recognize that there is a pathway to getting to where you want to be. You just have to know what to do first, second, and third, and be committed to that process.
Right. Just saying, my bad.
Right.
We can move on.
Oh, my fault. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I didn't know. Or, I made a mistake.
I made a mistake. Let's just move on.
Right.
It don't quite work.
It don't quite work that way.
That's the initial step.
Right.
There's some other things that need to happen.
It needs to happen. So we got everybody's chiming in. Renee says, I'm ready. Karen says 1. Renee says, look, ready, set, go, ready. Donetta, I'm ready. Okay, great. So we got everybody ready, keeping it real. I know that's right, Beth. Look, let me explain something to you, Shorty. We're gonna keep it 100 up in here, as they would say. I don't know if they say 100 anymore, but anyway, we're gonna keep it all the way that. So number one, really quickly, guys, I want you to know, number one is in order to make it work, there has to be forgiveness. Forgiveness has to come in the room. And I'm not necessarily saying first, second, or third, but it has to be in the room of these three things.
Right. And forgiveness is more than just saying, I forgive you. Forgiveness is, as the person who was offended, you're actually being able to get to a place, and this takes time. Yep. It does not happen overnight.
Yeah.
It starts with you saying it, with your being willing to sell it, but then say it. But then there's work that you have to do on yourself, because you got to get to a place where in your heart, you're not holding on to this. True forgiveness is you're able to, forgive and forget. And when I say forget, it means it not being an active, a constant thing that's looming over you. Not that you act like it never happened,
right,
per se, but you're not holding this, dangling this thing over this person. Correct. Every time they do something.
Correct.
Forgiveness is you get to the point that when you walk in the room with the person, you don't feel that,
So even before you get to that, because now Sheri is really kind of going into the work of forgiveness. Let me first of all help you guys understand. Forgiveness is really simple. It's an act of your will. Right. It's something you decide. Mm-hmm. It's a choice. Forgiveness is very similar to love in the sense that I don't wait to feel love oftentimes when I'm dealing with relationships. If you wait around till you felt like, you know what, I'm going to do this, since you're doing this, I'm going to do that. Here's the truth. Forgiveness, like love, is a choice. Now, here's the secret. Oftentimes, the feeling of forgiveness takes time, and that comes with work. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense, guys? I want y'all to chime back and forth. Does that make sense? And I think that too many people are waiting to feel like they forgive you in order to do it. And so they never get to that feeling part. So they never get to the place of being able to reconcile and put things back together because they're waiting for a feeling. Guys, let me tell you something right now. Forgiveness, the feeling, may not come for months, maybe years. I want y'all to hear this clear, the feeling of forgiveness. Right. But the act of forgiveness comes right away. Let me tell you how you're able to do that. When I forgive you, I'm able to put myself, first of all, in your place and say, first of all, have I ever made a mistake? Have I ever done something that I regretted? Have I ever said to myself, oh my God, I wish I could take that back? It's with that mindset that I forgive. Right. Does that make sense? And it doesn't mean I feel it. I may not like you very much right now. But I forgive you, and I'm willing to work out and work through and begin to work on that. And I think that until you can get to, that's why you oftentimes, Sheri, will have people 3-4 years in, they're sitting in a movie and they see a scene on the movie screen, and the scene reminds them of something that's happened in their relationship. And then these feelings rush over them. And so what I'm going to tell you is that just means you need to forgive again. That means you need to forgive again and again and again and again, and continue to enact that your will, until it gets to the place where you actually feel it.
Right. And I think the thing that's key with that is that, like you said, it's a choice. You make a decision to forgive. And when you make that decision to forgive, there are actions that come with that. So if I say I forgive you, that means now I'm not going to, I may not feel it, but I can't now use this as a weapon over you. Also, it releases me.
Absolutely.
Because now I'm not feeling the weight of what you did.
Absolutely.
I'm not giving that thing power to disrupt me, because I'm letting it go.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It's like, you did something. Yes, it hurt me.
Yep.
But I can't stay in that place.
Yep.
And also, if I allow your actions to cause me that much to disrupt me to that degree, I'm giving you power that you should never have. What you do should not have that much power over me.
Absolutely.
I may be hurt, I may feel it.
Yes.
But my life is not gonna stop because you did something wrong.
And people don't understand that whole idea. I love the way Derek put it. Derek Terrell, thank you for chiming in, brother. Derek says forgiveness is taking your power back over the situation. Better yet, not surrendering your power any longer. And it takes time and it takes work. Yes. And that is so very true, guys. I think that what most people, they don't recognize the amount of work that goes into getting to the place where you feel the forgiveness. And so they think that by saying it automatically should produce these feelings of warm and fuzzy and everything is okay. No, everything is not okay. And I want to say that off the break. Right. Everything is not okay. And I think that this is where people, again, they don't have coaches. They don't have a community. All they have is them too, and their crazy friends. God bless them, but it's not enough. And that's how, I'll be honest with you, I went from one incident to the next, to the next, to the next, easily, because I didn't have anything in my space or in my life to help interrupt the flow of just my flawed thinking. I don't know if that makes any sense.
Right. And one piece, and I don't know if we're going to talk about this today, but I do want to add this piece with forgiveness. If I'm going to say you're the offender, I'm the victim, I've been hurt, I decide I'm going to forgive you. Now, forgiveness comes with boundaries.
We're going to go into that.
Okay.
So let's just because we're getting ready to go. Okay. So number one, we said that one is forgiveness. Okay. Number two, and we're talking about what 3 things do you need in order to make it work. If you're ready for number 2, put a 2 in the chat. We're getting ready to go to number 2. If you're ready for number 2, put a 2 in the chat. 2. I need to know that y'all are ready for number 2. Put 2 in the chat. I'm not going anywhere. Jamitha is listening. Appreciate that. Karen, thanks for that comment. Donetta, I need to know that y'all are ready for number 2. Let's go. Let's go. Who is ready for number 2? Put a 2 in the chat, baby. I'm telling you right now, you can work through this, but the problem is that do you have the tools? Do you know how to work through it? So Derek, thanks, brother. He says, okay, I'm ready. Okay, so I got one. Eric Jones Jr., thank you, sir. Shout out to Maps. Our Maps community is showing up strong, representing. Love you guys. Love it. The 2s are coming in. Number 2 is willingness. Now, let me help you guys understand when I talk about willingness. And I don't normally use this platform to preach, but I'm going to say this. There is both the will and to do, and it's characterized in scriptures this way. It's almost like a prayer. God, give me both the will and to do of your good pleasure. There has to be a will involved to making this thing work. In other words, if I have stepped out on my marriage, if I have stepped out on our relationship, when I decide that, okay, I've made a mistake, and you have said, okay, well, I forgive you. Let's try and work this out. We have to be willing to do that.
Right. And there's acts that have to be done on both parts.
Absolutely.
This is not all on the victim, just simply saying, I forgive you. The offender has work to do.
Please say that again.
The offender has work to do.
Please say that one more time.
The offender.
Yes, ma'am.
Has work to do.
Let me tell y'all this. Let me explain something to you. And we're going to get in this because we're going to give you on number 3, we're going to break this down in detail. I hope y'all stick with us. We're not going to be very long, but we are going to give you guys some details on how to do this. Number 1, we said that forgiveness has to be in the room. Number 2, willingness. When we talk about willingness, the offender has work to do. Oftentimes, Sheri, when the offender, and in this case, I'm going to use myself as an example, my ex-wife, God bless her heart. we're friends today. But I'm telling you right now, she did not understand, nor did I, that there was a work that I needed to do, and it needed to look like something.
Right.
And so when I say I'm willing to work this out, the question is, well, what is the work? Okay, no problem. I got you. You willing? Then what you gonna do? Mm-hmm. You know, what are you gonna do to make sure that we're not here again? You can't. I'm not saying what do you do to fix this, because you can't fix it.
Right. Right.
Let's just get that clear. The act happened.
You can't take it back.
You can't take it back. It happened. You cannot do that. Oh, I wish I could. Stop wishing, because you can't go back.
Right.
So you cannot go back and fix something that has already happened. But there is work that needs to be done, particularly on the offender's perspective. And quite frankly, the one who's been offended, there's work you have to do in order to receive this person again, and be able to walk in that forgiveness. So number one, we said that there are three things that you need to have in your space in order to make the lies, the betrayal, the infidelity, the situation, to get it back, to be able to work it out. You have to have forgiveness was number one. Number two was willingness. And number three, if y'all are ready for number three, please put it in the chat. Y'all already know how we roll. Number three, if you're ready for number three, I just want you to say, I'm ready, I'm ready, I'm ready. Or number three, Sheri, the willingness is huge. Yeah, three. West Side, three. If you're ready for number three, let us know you're ready for number three. And I want to get into number three, because number three is where we're going to help them with the nuts and bolts to really be able to make this work. Okay, so
right, and I'm just being silly, guys, trying to, because this is a hard topic. Because there are people that are really going through this, that are struggling through this. And this is very different. When you're in a relationship and you're going through a season dealing with something like this, it's very difficult, and not making light of it at all, but just want to kind of loosen the mood up so you guys can hear, this is not an attack on the offender or an attack on the victim. We just want to be able to provide you guys some tools to be able to get through it, because it is possible.
Absolutely.
It's not, automatically throwing the towel. We want you guys to be equipped to be able to, if you want to fight, to be able to fight for.
Absolutely. We get ready to give y'all rules to the fight. So everybody's chiming in. Three. Renee says, I'm ready. Beth is saying, bring on number three. Beth, I got you, sis. Number three, here we go, guys, is a plan. Yes. I want y'all to write this down. If you don't have a pen, a paper, a pencil, a notepad, a text, something you need to go get one, because you need to write this down. I'm going to give y'all, within this plan, I'm going to give you three components of this plan that you need in order for this to work. Okay. And if you do not have this stuff in your plan, I promise you, it's not a matter of if, it's when, because it's not going to work. And I'm just going to keep it all the way real with you guys. So if you wanted to work, I want you to get something, write it down, because we're going to help you guys out. Number one, we said, babe, that if you are going to make this work, you're going to have forgiveness. Right. Number two, we said you're going to both have to be willing. Right. Number three, we're saying you're going to have a plan. Here are the three things that the plan must include. Number one is
boundaries. And I touched on this briefly earlier. You have to be able to establish boundaries and both be willing to abide by these boundaries. So if I'm the offender and I've stepped out of the relationship.
Oh, wait a minute, babe. Wait a minute. Y'all put boundaries in the chat. Somebody put the word boundaries in the chat. Real quick. Yeah, just boundaries. I say boundaries like it doesn't have that's because I'm from South Baltimore. Boundaries. I'm sorry. Boundaries. BOUNDARIES. Somebody put that in the chat. Use your spell check so that y'all don't have to come off like you don't have an education like me. So okay. So but go ahead. Go ahead. Sorry.
Boundaries have to be established. So if I'm the offender and I've lied, I've deceived you, I've stepped out of the relationship, whatever the situation is, I come to you, I acknowledge, hey, this is what I did, or you find out this is what I did, whatever the case is, I admit that, I made a mistake. You say you're going to forgive me. Now you get to put boundaries in place. The victim gets to put boundaries in place so that we're not here again, and to help me to help him. If you're the
offender,
you're the offender.
Okay.
I'm the victim. So to help me to be able to heal, to help me to be able to get past this, we need to put some boundaries in place. So number one, so that you don't make the same mistake. So if you were driving and you Or if you're out in the yard playing and you go out in the street, we're gonna put a fence up so you don't go out in the street.
Right.
So that's what a boundary is. Basically, we're gonna say, so to prevent you from doing what it is that you did before, let's create some boundaries. So if, say it's infidelity and the situation was that, you know, you were going out with a coworker after work, and that's how this whole thing kind of evolved. Mm-hmm. So the boundary is now you can't hang out with people at work after work anymore, or that if you do, that I get to come with you. And if there's going to be a social event with your coworkers, then I'm there with you, but you don't get to, you know, go and just hang out with them by yourself, because obviously I'm insecure at this point in time, because you violated absolutely, and you should be absolutely And so if it's you talking to this person, you don't get to have conversations with this person anymore. If it's going, you know, whatever it is, you get to create boundaries, but you both have to be willing to accept those boundaries.
Yes. And that's why, Sheri, I think that it's highly important and critical, guys, when we're talking about boundaries. Boundaries has everything to do with agreement. Right. In other words, when you think about a boundary, you think about a property line. Someone somewhere planned that. They're called county planners or city planners. Mm-hmm. They plotted out the land and they drew the lines of where the boundaries would be. Right. In your relationship, particularly when there's an infidelity, you both need to come together and redraw the lines. Mm-hmm. And you need to both participate in that process. And the challenge is that most people will walk away saying, oh, my bad, I'm sorry, that won't happen again. But the problem is, Glenn P. Brooks Jr., because this is what happened to me, no one is there to help me either A, draw that line, talk through it, or B, hold me accountable to it. And that brings us to number 2. In the plan, after boundaries, you have to have accountability. Right. Put that in the chat. Right. Put that in the chat. The word is accountability. Unfortunately, men, listen to me. We don't think that anybody should check us after we screwed up.
Especially our wives.
Especially our wives. Please say that again, babe.
Especially our wives, because you've grown and I can do what I want to do.
Absolutely. And I said I was sorry. So what more do you want me to do? That's how this normally goes. But
I just want to add this piece. If you keep doing the same thing that you did before,
yes,
what makes you think you won't end up in the same place again?
You're insane if you think that. It's called the definition of insanity.
Right. You're putting too much confidence in, because if you didn't have the strength to not let it happen the first time,
correct,
what makes you think you won't the next time?
And here's what we all know, guys, is that once you taste it and you saw how good something was, now your mind is wide open.
Right.
And so your propensity towards doing it again is great. You're much more susceptible to doing that thing again now that you've done it before, because now it doesn't come with the kind of angst that it did in the beginning.
Right. And I can hear the arguments, well, I'm grown and I don't need nobody telling me what I can and can't do.
And I mean,
I can handle myself. I made a mistake.
I mean, I'm good.
I'm not going to do that.
I said I was sorry.
But you did it the first time. And so if you want the relationship,
absolutely.
If that's what you value, then absolutely, you're willing to put up those boundaries. You're willing to institute those things, because what's more important, you being able to just go hang out and do whatever, or come home to your spouse and have a good relationship.
And here's what we realize. What you're going to find in this plan, guys, is you're going to find where people really are.
Right.
See, people talk a lot, and I'm trying not to say a bad word. People they talk a good game.
Right.
Let's put it that way. We talk a real good game. We are good fellas. We are good at being able to wow you, woo you, with the charisma or whatever, baby. I ain't mean this. I mean, it's me and you against the world. Get all that bull crap out my face. Joker, you just messed around and stepped out on this relationship.
Right.
It ain't me and you against the world. It's me, you, and her.
Right.
Or me, you, and him. However your situation is, I don't know. And I'm serious in this day and age. Right. The point I'm making is that we got to have some accountability. And accountability, sweetheart, is all about systems. Let me tell you what accountability is not. Accountability is not, I'm going to tell you when I mess up. Right. Accountability says this. Let me put systems in place to prevent me from doing that. Let me give you an example so that you understand what that might look like. That may look like, okay, babe, here's how I'm going to be accountable to you. Number one, I'm going to give you full access to my cell phone. full access to all my social media stuff. I want you to have the passcodes and passwords. Here's another step of accountability. Right now, I'm going to go on a 90-day social media fast. I'm not going to be on social media. I'm going to shut my page down temporarily. I'm going to get rid of my page, whatever the case may be. Guys, I'm trying to do some work here. When that's when you want to do work, this is what that looks like. I am going to now give you access to be able to ask me any question, anytime, and I have to give you full disclosure with no attitude.
Right.
Y'all hear how this is going? At this particular point, now you're starting to put in accountability. Do you have to do all of what I just said? No, but you have to agree on what you're going to do that can be monitored by somebody other than you so that you can now do it. Now, for me, I have a coach. I got brothers that I'm accountable to. I have groups that I'm in that I actually pay money to be a part of, brotherhoods, so that they can keep me accountable to do what it is I say I'm going to do. Now, in the case of accountability, in my case, I will fully disclose to my brothers what I did and that I need their help to hold me accountable. So if they see me, hear me saying anything that looks suspect, at this particular point, they get to call me on it. All these things are serving to give you a sense of security.
Right. And one thing with accountability for the offender, you have to realize that you were the offender. And so if you're an offender in the criminal justice system, there's a consequence.
Yeah.
You're going to either be confined, you on probation.
Yep.
So you have to look at this as you offended.
Yep.
You made an offense. So there has to be a period of time, a period of restitution.
Yep. Payback
that you owe.
You got to pay back. You got to pay it back. Absolutely.
Because you were the offender. So you owe a period of restitution to this person. And that means you have to do whatever you need to do to be able to rebuild their trust in you, rebuild their confidence in you. And that means there are going to be things you may have to cut out.
Absolutely.
In order to make them feel.
Absolutely.
And not necessarily feel, but to show them that you are worthy of their trust again, because you violated the trust.
Absolutely.
And so this is not me just saying, my bad, I made a mistake.
Yep.
It ain't going to happen again. And I'm still talking to that same joker at work every day. And I'm saying, no, we ain't going out to lunch, but we just be kicking it.
We just be kicking it. No. We're not doing all that.
What the heck is wrong with you?
So again, we said within the plan, there are three things that you need within the plan. Number one, we said boundaries. Number two, we said accountability. And I want y'all to put this last one in the chat. Number three, what's up, Letitia? Thanks for jumping in. The number three thing you need within your plan, if you're going to get to the place, guys, listen to me very carefully. If you're going to get to the place where you will make it work, you can make it work after the lies, after the betrayal, after the infidelity. There are three things that you need in order to be able to make it work. Number one, we said you are going to need forgiveness. Number two, we said you are going to need willingness. Number three, we said you are going to need a plan. Within that plan, you need boundaries. Within that plan, you need accountability. And the last thing is you're going to need community. Put that in the chat. Community. Please put that in the chat. Community. Let me tell you really quickly, and I'll let you explain what I mean when I say community. Community is not my boys. Community is not my church. Community is not my family. Community is not my coworkers. Community or a tribe is a group of people who are handpicked, and or you have put yourself in their environment that is specifically designed to help you navigate a specific issue.
Right.
So if your issue is that you can't keep your zipper zipped, fellas, or if you can't keep your panties on, ladies, you need a community of people who get that, been there, done that, and have overcome that, walking in it, and now they're willing to help you and help you grow in that area. For many people on this particular live that we have, they're in our MAPS community, Marriages and Parenting Successfully, because it's a community of people, it's a tribe that's designed to help you grow. You don't have to be a part of MAPS. We would love to have you if you did. But the truth of the matter is you need that community.
Right. Think of it as AA for an alcoholic. So I'm an alcoholic. I'm recovering. I go to meetings.
Yes.
These meetings, the meetings that you go to as an alcoholic are designed to help you deal with the struggles of being an alcoholic. You may have a church family where you go to church, you fellowship, you have your family,
right.
you have your friends, but you don't go to them to deal with that issue.
No, because
so if
y'all already know, y'all ain't talking about that on Sunday morning. Right. Ain't nobody talking about the fact that my wife just stepped out on me. No, ain't nobody saying that.
Right. So if the issue is, something that's affecting your marriage, whether it's deception, lies, infidelity, you want to be a part of a group that focuses on marriages, how to repair, how to rebuild marriages. So you need a community, a group of people where you go that's what the focus is.
Yeah.
This is not you going and hanging out with your boys and y'all talking about any and everything, going to the barbershop and just talking about stuff. That's not community.
Yeah.
That's not, because you're not focusing on that particular issue. You need a community that is going to be able to help you walk through
absolutely
that particular issue.
Absolutely.
And so that's why I like it in MAPS is AA for people that are dealing with marital issues or parenting issues, because that's what we focus on.
Absolutely. That's all we do. And I like what Jamaica said this, and I feel you, babe. Jamaica, she sweetheart of a person. She says a prideful person will have a hard time going through that process. True. Wow. I needed y'all 20 years ago. Guess what, Jamaica? We needed us 20 years ago. And so that's why I say that's such an endearing comment, because it's sobering and it's true. When you are prideful, when you care more about what other people think, when you care more about your ego and your image and your self-worth and your quote reputation, this is difficult. And there probably wasn't a more prideful person in the world than me back in those days. Here's some hope for prideful people. Let me tell you what heals pride. And I'm gonna ask you to forgive me before I even say this, because it's going to be harsh. Get falling on your
sword.
No. I want to say falling on your behind. I was getting ready to say it, but something said just keep it clean. When prideful people hit a brick wall and the doo-doo hits the fan, y'all know what I'm talking about. Sometimes you need to let it splatter. Mm-hmm. Listen to me, ladies. When you have a man who is prideful, oftentimes the thing that speaks pride is destruction. When you put up boundaries and all of a sudden now he's being held accountable by you for his actions, that will send a wake-up call to him on your bum. I like that word. My people from across the pond, Renee, thank you. They say that all the time. Falling on your bum. You got to fall on your tail. You got to hit rock bottom. You have to run into a brick wall that sobers you up. And for me, guys, let me just say this. It was the loss of my family. Let me just keep it all the way real. The thing that keeps me from not stepping out on Sheri is not my relationship with Jesus like that. That's part of it, but it's only a part of it. You know what it is? It's the pain of losing an entire family because of my foolishness. It's the pain of having to do the work to regain trust again. It's the pain of having to now look my son in his face when he goes through things and be able to say that the reason you're going through that is because I wasn't there. It's those kinds of vivid pain memories that keeps me connected and honest to say, do you want to go through that again? And the answer is no. I love Jesus, but I love not having to go through that kind of pain of seeing people who you love and care about suffer because of your stupidity. And so for me personally, I'm not talking about anybody else. That's enough for me to say, you know what? I ain't going through that no more. Right. I'm not having a conversation with our daughter on why I stepped out on you. Right. I'm not having that conversation. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to get off on a rant. Maybe I did, but who cares?
Right. And that's fine. And I think that when you think about, for me, when I think about prideful people, this all goes back to the immaturity piece. You know, a prideful person, to me, I liken them to a 2-year-old that's having a temper tantrum. People that are prideful are extremely immature and just selfish. Mm-hmm. They're this 2-year-old that just wants to have their way. Mm-hmm. And so you have to treat them like you treat a 2-year-old. And so you want to fall out and have a temper tantrum. I'm going to let you fall out and have a temper tantrum. And whatever comes with that, comes with that. I'm not rescuing you. And that's the problem oftentimes with us as women. We see our men going down this dark hole and we want to jump in and rescue them.
Bad move. Bad move.
If they aren't willing, if they're not trying to get on the right course, let them fall.
Let me tell you something. Go ahead.
And the reality is, the reason why you don't let them fall is because you don't want to reap the consequences of that. Because you're attached to this person.
Now you're messing.
And so you got to step back and be like, okay, if it ain't gonna kill me, I'm gonna let him go. He want to hit rock bottom. We ain't gonna die.
Yep.
It might get a little tight up in here for a minute. It might be a little rough for a minute.
Yep.
But I can't, because he needs to feel the consequences of his actions in order for him to make a turn.
Yep.
When you keep jumping in and you keep fixing stuff.
Yep.
And smoothing over stuff and not making him feel the consequences. So if he cheats on you and he comes and says, I'm sorry, and you're like, oh, okay, it's all right. Don't worry about
it. You're not doing him no favors.
And there are no accountability put in place. There's no
plan.
No plan put in place. You just like, oh, okay.
No boundaries.
It's okay. No boundaries are put in place. You just gloss over it. And then when it happens again, you looking stupid, talking about, I thought you said you wasn't going to do it again. There was no consequence. You just said, okay.
Absolutely.
I forgive you.
Right.
Let's move on.
Right.
No, it doesn't work like that.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely, baby. And I'm glad you said that, guys. We could go on and on and on and on about this subject. Obviously, it's something we've been through and we're super passionate about. It doesn't have to end miserably. It doesn't have to end the way that it is ending for so many people. But I think that you play a part in your own demise when you do not hold people to a standard that says, listen, I am worth this work. You step out on me, there's going to be some boundaries. You're going to get yourself accountable to somebody, and you're going to get you some community, or this right here ain't working.
Right.
See, you understand what I'm saying, guys? I'm not doing this.
Right.
And you get to choose, because at the end of the day, here's what I can't stand, Sheri, is when people sacrifice their health for the health of the relationship. That's backwards.
Right.
And I'm telling you, it doesn't work. Get healthy and demand people to treat you healthy. And at this particular point, you don't do that with your lip service. You do that with your actions. And you say, listen, I'm going for health. I'm going for, we're going to be whole. And here's what I like to always remind people, that relationships only work when you have two people who are willing to be healthy.
Right. And who are willing to do the work.
And willing to do that work.
And I just want to make a disclaimer real quick. We spun this on the men. It's not only men that cheat.
Absolutely.
There are women that cheat. And men, you get to hold her accountable as well.
The exact same pendulum swings the other way.
It goes both ways.
Absolutely.
So whoever the offender is.
Absolutely.
Just saying you sorry is not enough.
Yeah.
There's more that needs to be done.
Absolutely. And I got off on that because that's obviously I'm a man, and that's what I've gone through. And as in our coaching, babe, let's just be honest. If we had to put a percentage on it, we are finding that probably
it's about 50-50.
Do you think so?
Yeah, we've seen about half as many.
Well, I just seem like maybe it's because I deal with the guys all the time. It just seems like that this is a guy thing. But either way, what we're trying to say is, guys, is that stuff works, and both of you all have a significant responsibility to put these systems in place. If you need help, if you need a place to where you can go through these processes, you can get access to us and people like us. There are more of us. There are more of us. It's not just us that think this way. Right. We encourage you, really, really. I mean, we implore you guys, come be a part of MAPS, get involved in our community, because I promise you guys, we are having some success that you would not believe. And for the people out there who are waiting on their spouse to get on board, do me a favor, stop waiting and start doing. I'm going to say that again. Stop waiting and start doing. Get you right.
Right.
Work on you. Come on and be a part of a community that can help you to get healthy, right? Because at the end of the day, you can't even help a person who's unhealthy when you too are unhealthy. And so I think that there's something to be said that says, okay, maybe they're not ready yet, but here's what I'm ready. So you come on, be a part of that community. And then the good news is here's what I've always said. You can't change people, But man, when you change, that becomes attractive.
Right.
And I typically will change because you did.
Right. And I just want to caution people. I know we get on here every Saturday and we drop a few nuggets here and there. Don't go try to run off of these few nuggets that we've given you. There are more steps to this. And so if you are in a situation that we've talked about, whether today's broadcast or another broadcast, schedule an assessment with us so we can sit down with you and help you map out a real plan.
Yep.
Don't try to automatically put this stuff in place because there are steps. There are
and it
changes.
Yeah, there's levels to this, and it changes based on your specific scenario.
So schedule an assessment with us. Let us get with you. Let us see if we can help you to be able to map something out. If it's not with us, maybe we can refer you to somebody else, but get with somebody that can help you really map out how to do this. Don't go off the sound bites.
Yeah, the barbershop.
I'm gonna fix
talk.
this. If they said do this,
it was Glenn and Cherie said. I'm telling you right now,
you don't have the full gamut of how to do it because it takes work.
There's resources that we have that we can direct you to where we're getting a lot of what we're talking about. This ain't stuff we done made up. This is proven research and different things like that. And so there's a way to walk through this. And I appreciate that, baby. Guys, listen, we're gonna run out. We're going to get out of here. We got stuff happening today. I hope that this has helped you today. If this has helped you, do me a favor and say, and share it out. But I just want you to put a thank you in the chat. If it helped you today, if this helped you at all, just put thanks, thank you. I appreciate it. Thumbs up, maybe a fist bump, right on something that lets us know that we actually impacted you. Yeah. It's like power to the, peace, pound me, do something right. Yeah, I'm famous for putting up my chocolate fist. But just let us know, that way we can know that we are being effective. Guys, at the end of the day, your relationship does not have to suffer. It does not have to go through what it's going through. And I promise you, there's work. Donetta said thank you. Appreciate that, Donetta. And I'm a firm believer that no matter what challenges you face in a relationship, no matter what, whether it's infidelity, whether it's financial challenges, no matter what it is, the loss of a loved one, that if you guys work together, you can make it through that. Yeah. Sometimes that takes one of you working on you first to get the other one to come along. But there's work that has to be done. Yeah. And that, people get married and we assume that it's just going to be this happily ever after. It don't happen like that. Nah, that's the movies. That's no doubt. Real. There's real work. Right. She said that's the movie. We work on our relationship daily. Every day. This is not just automatic. This doesn't just happen automatically. There's work that's done. I mean, we have, Glenn says he's shared before, we've only had 5 major arguments, but we disagree every day. Every single day. We have to work through that stuff. We have differences of opinion because we're different people. And so we have to work on it every day. That's what's up. Oh, that's what's up. You tell your husband, I love that man, and ain't nothing he can do about it. And so anything he need, he can call me. That's my dude. No, guys, I appreciate it. What we do from our heart. And we don't want to see people go through what we've been through. And we know that there's an answer. When we say we needed us 20 years ago, we got us now. And so what we try to do is give us so that people don't 20 years from now have to say, where were y'all 20 years ago? No, we was here. We was here. We was here. At the end of the day, guys, we got to run, but we like to let you guys know and leave y'all with hashtag we all need some help. Love y'all. We'll see y'all next week. Next Saturday. It's going to be good. Don't miss next Saturday. Trust me. Bye, guys. Bye.